So first of all, right, we will see the today's agenda that okay, what all things we'll cover. So let me just go to that presentation mode, right? So what happened? First, we'll see that what OIC is, then we'll say why OIC will be requiring, right? And what are the things, right, where OIC will help, and we are not going for other things, right? Then we'll see some use cases. Then we are going to see the OIC components that okay, what are the different building blocks of OIC. Then we'll just go and see that instance where we will go into the development. So that is that initial things we have for today. So we'll try to cover most of the things so that okay, you will have that complete understanding of the OIC. So what is OIC? So if I will ask anyone, if anyone has any idea about OIC, so you can just unmute and just explain that what OIC is before I will go, or whatever your understanding of OIC. It is okay.
So you can unmute yourself.
Hello, am I audible, sir?
Yeah, you are audible, Malik.
Sir, actually, OIC, it's like an integration between like cloud or like client applications.
Right.
Just related to same as like API, right?
Correct. So it's kind of a correct solution, but it's not that complete solution explanation. So what OIC, right? So before I will go into that one, right, I will try to explain through example. So if I will say that, okay, you are getting the salary, right? So from whom you are getting the salary? For example, I am working for company ABC, right? So the company ABC will pay me the salary. But is the that company will credit that amount into my bank? No, right? Who will be crediting that amount into my bank? Some bank will credit, right? For example, my company is associated with ABC, like XYZ bank, right? So that XYZ bank will be crediting that amount into my bank, the salary into my bank. So if you see, right, in this scenario, what happened, right? Two systems are communicating. One is your company, which may be sitting into some system. All your informations are sitting with the company, right? How the bank will know that, okay, what is the salary we need to pay to this person? What happened? Your company will share that information with the bank. So now what happened? Two systems are communicating. One is your company system, another is that bank system. So two systems will communicate with each other, and then your data will be transferred from point A to point B, right? So what happened? Two systems are integrating with each other. So this is a simple, if you want to see a right understanding of the OIC, so you can say the middleware, right? Now from point A to point B the data is moving, but how it is moving, right? So OIC comes as a in between layer, the middleware, with which the data can be transformed from point A to point B. Now, is OIC only the thing in with which we can do? No, right? We can go and do through other ways also. One way is like, for example, manual. I can prepare that all the file in Excel sheet, and I can share that over email. Then maybe we can write some code and the Java or some programming language, and we can do that one. But in those things, right? What happened? Right? Security is the major thing, because we are in the time where security is the most important. Whether my data will go or no, that is my second priority always. First priority is like always my data should be secure wherever it sits, right? So if it is in my system, it should be secure. If it is going from my system to another, right? So when it will go to the target, then target system's responsibility to make that data secure. But when it is traveling, right? So that time also my data should be secure, right? So those are the things which lacks in other things. If you are writing your own code from the scratch, right, then what happens if you, for example, I am the person who is having 10 years of experience, so maybe I will write better code. Now for example, some developer will come who has 20 years of experience, so they will write better code compared to me. Then on the other hand, some person will be there who is just starting their career, right? So they will write less secure code compared to me, right? So it is always developers dependency, that security in today's time, right? We cannot bear that loss that developer does not know that code, right? So what happened? OIC came up with the solution. So we are into that time where we have to build the solution faster, and then nothing should be dependent on any developer. So what happened? Oracle comes with the OIC solution, Oracle Integration Cloud. So what is that official definition of the OIC? So OIC is a complete, secure but lightweight integration solution that enables you to connect your applications in the cloud. So what it means, right? It means with the help of OIC, you can go and connect any systems It can be two systems, it can be multiple systems, right? So for example, in one conversation, multiple systems want to communicate. So if I will take that example of the salary again. So what happen, your company will say that, okay, for person A, 10,000 is the salary. Now what happen, right? It is not completely your in hand salary. For example, the 10% should will go to the income tax department. 10% information should go to the insurance department. 10% information should go to the PF department. The rest all will be credited into your account. So what happened in this one, right? Multiple systems will be there. We have to share the information with the insurance department also. We need to share with the information with the PF department also. We need to share the information with the income tax department also. So what happened? Data will start from our company, and where it will go, right? It will go to the multiple endpoints. So all these things, right? How we can do, right? So OIC will give us that capability, right? So it means with the help of OIC, we can go and make multiple systems to communicate with each other, right? So it simplifies connectivity between your application and can connect both your application that live on the cloud and your applications that still on premise. So what it means, right? It means now some applications are on the cloud, but there are possibility that, okay, some applications are not on the cloud. They're still using the old systems. So when you have multiple things, right, how it will happen? So OIC is giving us that capability that, okay, we can go and use both type of applications, right? If suppose we are using the cloud systems, so we can go and connect with the cloud also. So if you see there is example, right, where OIC is sitting, OIC is like in between. Now if you see that we have the cloud thing, we have the on-premise, and we have the third party also. Now it is a OIC solution. That doesn't mean that, okay, only Oracle systems can communicate. If you see, right, third party, Salesforce, SAP system, Workday, it means non-Oracle products also can go and use OIC as a middleware for the data communication, right? Then if you see, right, if within that Oracle products we want to, right? So for example, multiple Oracle products are there. If they want to communicate with each other, right? So they can go and connect, right? So if you see, right, within Oracle products we can connect. Oracle product can go and connect to the non-Oracle products, and we can go and connect to the on-premise system, which are still sitting on the legacy systems. So OIC is giving us all the capabilities. Now, is OIC only the player in the market who is doing this kind of a thing? No, there are other players also, like Dell Boomi and MuleSoft. But those are not that capable what OIC is. Now, on top of this, right, OIC is a low code framework. What it means, what is the meaning of the low code framework? The meaning of the low code framework is like we don't have to develop the code from the scratch. The components are already there. We can just go and use those components and we can build our solution, right? So what happen, right? It means we don't need to learn any programming language, which, for example, if suppose non-technical member also want to start their career in the OIC, right? So they can also go and start with the help of OIC, because it is a low code framework. Components are there, we just have to drag in those components and we can build the solution. So what is the what is the benefit of this one? So when it is low code component, right, what happen, right? We don't have to develop the code from the scratch, so our development time will be saved. So when the development time will be saved, right? So companies are going to the solutions where they can go and save their development costing. Correct? So what happened earlier, how we used to do? For example, if I will go and do the solution with some programming language, what happened? I need to go and download some software. Then I need to go and download all the libraries. Then I have to build my solution. Then I have to deploy that to the server, and then it will be working. Now in that one, right, there is a possibility first we'll get some development issues. Once development is complete, then we can get the deployment issues, that, okay, the solution was working in my local, but now it is not working when we are uploaded the solution to the server. But those kind of issues are gone out of the picture. Why? Because OIC directly we are doing the development on the cloud itself, on the server itself. It means no need to download any software, no need to download any libraries. All that implementation, all the code which will be happening, right? So that will be happening directly on the server itself, right? It means OIC instance, right? Environment will be created. We will just log into that environment and all our development will be doing there. So when we directly do the deployment development on the server, right, what happens? Those deployment activities are out of the picture. So what happened, right? Automatically the deployment time is saved. So deployment time is saved and deployment issues time is saved. So what happened, right? For example, if I will say that, okay, earlier the solution we are able to implement in 10 days. Out of those 10 days, right? For example, we have allocated 7 days for the development and 3 days for the deployment and all. So if you go and shift to the OIC, what happened, right? Automatically those 3 days are saved. Why? Because there's no deployment thing in the OIC. Now the next come, right? So 7 days we have allocated for the development. Because we are writing the code from the scratch, we'll go and do the setup and all those things we'll do. Here, everything is coming inbuilt only. We just have to go and start development only. So what happened, right? Those deployment, installation, all those things are again out of the picture. And we don't have to write the code from the scratch. Components are there. So what happened, right? Those 7 days also can be possibly reduced to 3 to 4 days. So what happened, right? We can drastically reduce that development and deployment activities time when it comes about the solution implementation. So this is the major reason why in today's time all the companies are going for the OIC as a solution for the data communication or when it comes about the integration. And the security will come as an inbuilt only. So that developer's capability is also gone out of the picture. That okay, whether I will create a simple application, whether I will create a complex. For example, if I will create a simple hello world application, right? Or if I will go and create a complex application where bank will be interacting with the company and some financial data will be in linking. All both the things, right, will be having a same level of security. What level of security Oracle is using for its product, right? So that security will come as a inbuilt by default only. So as a developer, we don't have to do anything additional to make our application secure. We just have to focus on the business logic. That okay, what is our logic, what we want to achieve. Rest all things, dependencies kind of a thing, right? So those will be taken care automatically by the Oracle product development team, right? So that is what OIC is, right? Now that introduction of the voice, right? So we have seen that, right? It is a complete solution where we can connect multiple applications. It simplifies the data movement from multiple systems. So that can be on the cloud or that can be on the on-premise systems. Then the platform supports integration, process automation, and application. So with the help of OIC, right, what happened, right? Those repetitive or manual tasks, right, we can go and automate. It empowers organization to build connected digital ecosystem with less manual effort. So the development time, right, we already saved. So we can go and make that automated digital systems with lesser development time. This is designed to bring agility, accuracy, and speed to enterprise operations, right? So we can build the solutions faster so that okay, we don't have to wait for days to get that solutions or to have that new functionality. Now, why OIC, right? So with the help of OIC, right, whatever the human intervention, right, that where we can say that, okay, it delay can happen. Now, I will just give one more example. For example, your company is operating with multiple countries, right? So when it is operating with multiple countries, what will happen, right? That, okay, when they will do any transaction of the money with particular country, so they have to do in their currency exchange. For example, if there any communication will happen between India and US, what happened, whatever today's dollar rate is there, right, rupees to dollar, in that currency, right, the exchange, the connection or the transaction will happen. Tomorrow the currency exchange rate will be different. For example, today it is like $1 is equal to 80 rupees. Tomorrow it will be 82 rupees. Day after tomorrow maybe 79 rupees. So on that particular day, right, whatever the exchange rate is there, so with that one the communication should happen. Same thing, right, is varying with all the countries. So in that case, what happened, right? We have to go and load daily exchange rates, right? So that okay, whatever transactions happen today, so they will happening with the latest exchange rate of the particular day. So how we can do, right? So normally companies what will do, right? They will go and load the latest exchange rate in their system. So they have to do the same activity every day. So what happened, right? It is a repetitive task. Somebody has to go and perform the same steps again and again. Now, for example, I am the person who is responsible for that activity. For example, due to some reason, right, I was not able to perform that activity on one particular day. What will happen, right? On that particular day, if I am not loaded, right? So what happened? All the things, all the transactions will having the wrong information. Why? Because the exchange rates are old. Those are not latest. So what happened, right? Company will face a loss in that case. because there was a human dependency and we are not able to perform that activity. So rest all things are kind of a impacted or hampered. But if we can go and automate this task, right? So that okay, system will take care of this one automatically. So what happened? There is no human dependency. So what happened? We can design one solution with the help of OIC and we can schedule that one, right? So it means we can say that okay, this logic needs to be executed or at this particular time. So what happened? Whether I will be available or not, right? Whether I have the internet or not, right? Automatically system will run that logic. It will go and load that and it will go and send that communications also to the corresponding team members that okay, today's exchange rate got loaded. So now what happened? In any scenario, there is no human dependency. It is a repetitive, so we have scheduled. So that okay, automatically the things will be happening, right? So what happened? What about the repetitive task where we have too much dependency on the human, right? So we can reduce those solutions with the help of OIC, right? Now, when it will be done by human, right? There's a possibility of the data issues and all. But when it is system will do, right? So what happened? Those issues will not be coming. So that will be the right data inconsistencies occur, right? When multiple teams handle the updates. So here single system is taking care of everything. Now, why the multiple teams will come, right? For example, if it is a huge task, then it is not one person cannot go and complete that task. Maybe we need 3 team members, 4 team members, but system can go and do that activity, right? If it is a bigger task or smaller task, right? System can go and perform alone, right? So due to that reason, right, data consistency will be there and we can go and scale easily. For example, if today we got the data, for example, 10,000 records we got. So we told that, okay, 3 team members are needed. For example, right, day before, like after next week, right, the data started coming 20,000 records. So what happened, right? We can say, we'll say that, okay, we're not able to complete this task, right? 3 team members can handle only 10,000 records only. We need additional resources to complete the task. But will system will tell that one? No, right? System will take care of that one also. So it means the scaling can happen automatically. No additional things will be required when data will be coming huge and all, right? Troubleshooting and maintenance require continuous IT involvement. So what happened, right? If it is a manual, right, what happened, right? We are dependent on multiple team members. If suppose my laptop is not working, right, so I'm dependent on that IT team member, then he is dependent. But when it is a system is doing, right, there's no dependency itself, right? So all these challenges, right, can be removed with the help of OIC, which are slow down our process. So with the help of OIC, right, we can get that faster solutions.
Huh?
Javed, can you unmute if you're not talking here? Thank you. Right now, how OIC helps? So same thing, right? We can automate those repetitive tasks with the help of OIC, right? The data will be transferred accurately between multiple systems and real time. Now, real time is again main thing. For example, if I am performing that activity, right? So if suppose that process will take 2 hours to complete. Now it is my speed, right? It depends upon my capability. If suppose I'm taking that process 3 hours, 4 hours. So what happened? Until unless I will complete it, so the data will be delayed by that time. But if system is performing, right? So what happened? System can go and perform the task faster compared to me if I'm doing that manual. So what happened? Always you will get that closer to the real time informations, right? So that is possible in the if system is performing that activity. If I will perform that activity, what will do, right? First I will get the data, I will download. Now for example, it is a big file, right? It will take for example 30 minutes or 1 hour to download. Then I will open, I will transform, right? So that will take a lot of time. But if system will do that one, right, system will be doing that steps faster, right? So due to that reason, right, the development will be faster and we will get the real time data. Business can focus more on strategy rather than operational maintenance. Now what happened? Business has to focus on the business only. They don't have to focus on all these operation things. That okay, we need more resources. If data will come, right, we need bigger team. All teams should be aware, right, available at all the time. So all those operational things are out of the picture. Right now it is automated, right? So what happened? Right? The chances of the error and data duplications, right, will be reduced because it is system who is doing that activity. It is not that person will be dependent. So the solutions will be faster in the case of OIC, right? So the use cases. So one is that example I gave salary, right? Another is like that daily transaction, daily exchange rate. Then there could be other things, right? We can say automated financial reporting. For example, right, your company needs some financial informations, right? So they have prepared some report. So they need some quarterly data, annual data, half yearly data, monthly data. So what happen, right? They can create one time and then they can schedule. So that okay, like every 1 month, every 3 months, right? They will get that reports automatically without any human intervention. For example, right? We are filling the time cards. Your manager needs that report every Monday. That okay, whoever is reporting to the manager, right? What all the work or how many hours they have worked, like their resources worked. So he needs one report every Monday morning. So what happened? Somebody has to run that report or prepare that report and then they need to share. But what happened? It is a manual thing, repetitive. What happened? We can go and automate that one. We can create one OIC integration that will fetch that information, prepare the report, and then what happened? It will send over email at 8 a.m. in the morning every Monday. So now, irrespective of whether person is available or not, right? So the email will be sending to the manager. Manager will go and check that one, right? So that task got automated. Then same thing, right? When it comes about the sales, marketing, customer support platforms, right? To get the real-time data that okay, how much traffic it is coming. So when multiple systems want to communicate, right? So you can use that OIC. Streamline the order management and inventory control access departments, right? For example, you're running some store and all, right? Inventory management and all. So right, you will have two different, right? One is a order platform and one is a inventory. So both the systems should be in sync at real time, right? So with the help of OIC, you can do. You can integrate HR systems, right? Or synchronization between internal and external application. It means if you want to just understand in simple terms, any two systems can communicate any real-time data, right? So OIC is best for that one. Now it is not dependent upon the developer's knowledge also because it is a low code framework. We just have to drag and drop those components and we have to build the solution. So now it is not that one that okay, if I'm a fresher, right? I don't know all the concepts of the programming language. If someone who's senior, right, who has 15 years of experience, so they will have the more knowledge. Yes, obviously the experience matters always, but it won't matter based on the usage. Correct? It will be matter how you design your solution. So now the experience will matter how you build that solution, not how you write that code or how you design. Correct? So that is what the OIC is. Now I told that okay, like how in the real world, right? So we have seen that slide, right? But if you see that when multiple systems want to communicate, how it will look like.
Hello.
Hello?
No, sir. In Javed, do you have any questions? You raise the hand. Hello.
Okay, if anyone has any questions, we can take those questions also. Okay, I will continue. Right? So if you see, right, that example which I showed, that what happened, right? This is your company who wants to pay the salary. Now some information will go to the bank and some information will go to the income tax department. Right? So what happened? This is our source system. And these two are the target systems where the information should go. So in the real world, right, how that information will be happening. So what happened, right? We will go and create the connections, right, to connect with this system. So here three systems are there, right? So what happened? Three connections will connect. And those connections internally will use that adapters. So all these things will explain in detail. No need to worry that okay, what is this connection, adapters and all. I will be explaining everything in detail. But just to give you that complete solution, right? Or from high level, how OIC will be there, right? So what happened? We can create connection adapters we can create with the help of this one. So for example, this is system, right? This is like using Fusion application or Oracle system. So with the help of Oracle adapter, we'll create the connection. Now, for example, this is using some database. So what happened? With the help of database adapter, we'll create the connection so that okay, we'll go and use this one. Then this is another system, right? Who is using, for example, legacy application. So with the help of legacy adapter, we'll create the connection. Now we have set up, right? What is the source? What are the target systems? Then we'll create the integration. In that one, right, we will go and write our logic. That okay, from here, what information should come, then what calculation, orchestration, if we have to do any data massage, we can do, and then corresponding information we can share. For example, right, 10,000 is the salary, right? So what happened? From here, the salary will go as a 10,000. Now in the integration, some calculation will happen that okay, 8,000 is the in-hand salary and 20% is the tax. So what happened? He with the bank, 8,000 only information will go. 2,000 information will go to the income tax department. Right? So all that logic we can do here. Now, when we are doing that, all the calculations, logic and everything, right? Are we writing any code? No. So with the help of designer portal, right, we will go and implement our solution. So it means the components will be there. We just have to use those components and we have to design that solution. So at the end, your solution will look like kind of a flowchart kind of a thing, right? Then you can go and run your integration. And then if you want to monitor, right, because implementing solution and running solution is the one thing. After that one, we want to monitor also whether our process is working fine or not. If it is taking more time, right? So we see have to check why it is taking more time, or if it is erroring out. So we have to see, right, why it got errored out. We need to fix those, right? So all those things, right, monitoring how we can do. So for the monitoring also, right, inbuilt dashboard or monitoring screens are there. So it means as a developer, we don't have to write anything additional to monitor. Inbuilt pages, inbuilt screens are there. With the help of that one, right, we can go and see our solution, how it is working or how it is performing, right? So if you see it, everything is already there. We just have to implement or we just have to design the solution. Monitoring screens are already there. Then low code framework, right? So components are there. So we, due to that reason, right, development is faster because most of the things are already there into this one, and no software installation and everything. Now if I will say that okay, how the normal development cycle of any integration will be there, right? So first of all, what we have to do, right, we have to create a connection. So if you see, right, in this system, in this one, right, so we want to connect with this is a source system, these are the two target systems. So we have to go and create the connection, right, to connect with that systems. So if I want to connect with this system, right, connection will be created. If I wanted to create with this one, connection. So due to that reason, right, first step is like we have to go and create the connections by using the inbuilt adapters that okay, with which all the systems are there which will be involved in the communication. Once we create the connection, then the second step is like we will go and create a integration. Then we will do the mapping of the data. So it means we will write our orchestration and logic. Once our logic is complete, we have to activate. So activate is nothing but like publish. Once we publish, right, then our integration will start running, and then with the help of monitor integration, we can go and see our flow that okay, how it is performing or how it is running. Now, for example, we got some error. So what we can do, right? We can deactivate our integration and we can go and modify our logic. Then again, we can go and activate and we can monitor again, right? So that is that development life cycle will be there in all the cases. Yes, the logics can be complex or simple. So those will be sitting into this map data, but the building blocks are going to be same. Create connections, create integration, then write your logic. Once complete logic got completed, we have to activate our integration and then we can go and monitor, right? So that is what we have. Now, before going into this one, right? Now I will just show you that environment that, okay, how the environment will look like. So let me just come to the instance. Let me just stop my screen for a second. I just opened that OIC instance. Okay, so I'm sharing my screen back. So as I was mentioning, right, that okay, we will not go and download any software, right? All the development will be happening directly on the server itself. So this is how the instance will look like. So what happened, right? Instance URL will be there, then credentials will be there, username and password. We just have to come and log into the environment. correct? Then this is the place where we'll go and do all our developments. So this is nothing but we can call as a infrastructure, or we can call as a instance, where we'll go and design our solutions. So if I will come here, right, and just want to show you, right, so these are the places, right, where we can go and develop. So project and integration is the place where we'll be implementing the solution. So I can come to the project, and if I will say with one thing, maybe I can go with any example. I can say PR. So okay, we don't have that access to this project. Accounts payable. OIC project 1. Let me just filter it out. Okay, maybe we can go to the design. So there we'll able to see, because projects are kind of a restricted projects. So everyone will not have that access. Or this is our username. Let us see if we have any project created with this account. Apply. So if you see that this project is created by us. So in this one, right, we'll able to see this one. So if you see that example which I was showing, it daily exchange rate. So what happened? This is that solution what we have for the daily exchange rate. So I can just open this one. So what happened? First we have created an integration, like connections. Then we have created an integration. So this is how your solution will look like, right? So this is a schedule integration. It will read that file from the FTP server, right? Your files will be sitting into the FTP. Then what happened? From there we'll go and download. Then it can have one file, it can have multiple files. So we need to process each file. So what happened? We will be downloading the files. Then we will prepare the file in the format which we can go and load into the Fusion. So we'll be loading the data into the Fusion. So we are preparing the zip file, and then if you see, right, we will go and write that FBDI file, and we will load into the Fusion. So right, so this is how, right, we can go in. So if you see, right, in this one, right, there is no code. What we have, right, we just have a kind of a flow chart kind of a thing. You can change that orientation from top to bottom, right? So that okay, we will read the data from here, and all these things, right, will be available as a actions. So this is already in the active state, right? So due to that reason we'll not able to see anything. Let me just go back and deactivate this one, right? So I will go and deactivate and deactivate. Now we have deactivated, right? So what happened? It is ready for the read only format. I can come here. So it is showing deactivation in progress. Now it configured. If I will click again into this one, right? Now we can go and see our code in the editable format. So as I was mentioning it, all the components will be there. So actions. So here the things are already there. By using all these things, right, we can go and build our solution. So these are the components are there. So we just have to build our solution like this one. Correct? So what happened? In file, what are the operations we can do, right? We can read the file, we can download the file, we can prepare the zip file, right? So all those operations are happening here, right? So we are dealing with the files in real time with the help of logic, and then we are loading the data into the Fusion. So if you see it, this is a Fusion connection. Our target system is a Fusion in which we have to go and load the data. So this is how we can go and implement the solution. So is there any code? No. So no software download. All the code is happening directly on the server. So there is no deployment, and the code also we are not writing. It is a low code. So we just have to drag and drop those components, and we can go and build the solution. Now, if you go and see, right, this development life cycle, create connection. So we have to go and create the connection first. What all the systems will be there? So we can say ERP connection will be there, right? And then we can say that okay, our FTP connection is a system. Then we can go and create our integration. So this is a place where we can go and create the integration. Then we have written the logic inside. So that is the mapping data. Now it is complete, right? What happened? We have to go and activate. So once it is activate, right, then only we can go and run. So activate is nothing but kind of like we are publishing the integration, right? So that way it can be used for the run purpose. So activation in progress. So when it is in the published, whatever, right, we cannot go and make any code changes, because after activation or after publish, it will become in the read only mode. Then whatever, right, once it is activated, we can go and run our integration. So let it complete. So once it will be completed, right, then whatever, right, we can go and monitor. So observe is the page from where we can go and monitor. So if you see it in last 1 hour, this is not executed anytime. So if you see it, activation got succeeded. So if I will come back to the design, it will show activate. In observe, we can go and see that, okay, how many times it has run. So all those things, right, whether it got succeeded, whether it got errored out, right. So it is like inbuilt only. Maybe let me go and change that time frame. I can say last 32 days, and we can check if it is run anytime. Okay, so this integration has not run till time, right? So due to that reason, right, if you see, right, you're not able to see anything. But if suppose this integration would have run, right, so maybe I can go and just show you to this page. So we can come to the integrations.
And how many times it will be run daily basis?
It is depend upon your schedule, how much time you want to run. So we can define that frequency. For example, right, that exchange rate, right, you need to run once a day only. So you can run one time, and you can define that time that, okay, when. So for example, your operation starts 8 a.m. in the morning. So we need to load that exchange rate before that. So we can schedule our process for 4 a.m.
Okay.
Now, for example, that your manager needs your time card report. He needs only one time in a week, correct? So we can define fully weekly. You will get the salary, right? So you will get the salary monthly only one time. So we can schedule that process only monthly. Your company needs some quarterly reports, right? That, okay, how much we have performed, how much revenue we have generated. So some quarterly report they need. So that needs to
Okay.
be done every 3 months only one time. So you will schedule three months only. Then on the other hand, there's a possibility, right? Some process you need every hour, right? So you can define that frequency every hour. So that will depend upon your requirement, that, okay, how frequent, or based on your requirement, when all you need to run this solution. So if you see it, this is one integration which I ran 709 times.
Suppose,
All the times
uh,
it got completed successfully.
suppose there is a code to order. Um, there is a process. It was
Okay.
integrated,
Okay.
and so it is like instant, right? Like every time we need, right? Is it like a scheduled basis, like five
Yeah. So
minutes
you,
time?
yeah, you can do the schedule based also, or like event based also. For example, you want that, okay, for example, in the FTP server, right? Once your file got uploaded, once it got uploaded, your process should start automatically, right? So it means event based.
Okay.
So in integration, right, we have three types of patterns: on demand,
Mhm.
schedule, and event based. On demand is like when you want to run, so that time only it will run, right? So it means it
Okay.
is in your control.
But
When
it
you
won't
want,
be 24/7.
no, it can be. That's all
Okay.
right. It depends upon your requirement. Suppose some solution you need to run every 1 hour,
Mhm.
24, right? So in one day, right, you want to run 24 times. So you will schedule 24 hours, and you
Okay.
need to schedule every day, 7 days in a week. So you can schedule for 7 days only. Maybe some process, right, you need to on the work days only. So what happened, right? You will schedule only on the work days. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday only you will schedule. On weekend, right, it won't work. So that will completely depend upon your frequency, that, okay, what frequency you are defining,
Okay.
right? So
But can we
yeah,
call OIC as a web service, or is it different?
yeah, you can consider OIC as a web service. So if you use your starting point as a REST adapter or SOAP adapter, right? So it will be kind of a REST API, and SOAP API will be. But if you use some different adapter, then it is a like integration system. So if you just want to understand, yes, you can call this as a web service also. But it is more than that one.
Okay.
Yeah, because it is completely environment or infrastructure or the architect pattern. So this is what like we can go and see that. So if you see it, monitoring process that is already inbuilt only. So we don't have to do. If you said this integration ran 8 times, out of those, right, 4 times it got completed successfully, and 4 times it got aborted only. If you see this one, right? So 6 times it ran. Out of those 6, right? 5 times it is working fine, and 1 time it got errored out. Now you want to debug, right? Why it is erroring out? So you can click into this one. So we can go to the error thing, and we can see that okay, when it got errored out. So you can go and see that information also, that okay, why it got errored out, and you will able to see that message that okay, it got failed because of the input. The input is not coming in the correct format, right? You can go and see the detail section, that okay, what is that values are happening. So it means like all the informations you are getting inbuilt only. So as a developer, we don't have to do any explicit way to handle all these things. Correct? So that is what OIC is. Now I will just go back to my integration. So as I was mentioning, right, that okay, integration patterns. So currently we are into the generation 3. So the OIC which we are using, right, so that is a generation 3 environment. But 1 year back, right, it was generation 2. So there is a possibility that okay, 95% clients already using generation 3, or whichever new customers will come for the OIC, they will be using the generation 3 only. But there is a possibility some old customer still use generation 2. So in the generation 2, we used to have the 6 pattern. But in the generation 3, those 6 patterns got deprecated, like removed from 6 to 3 patterns. So application was there into the generation 3 also. That is nothing but the on demand. So that is still there in the generation 3. Schedule integration was also there into the generation 2, and that is still there in the generation 3. File transfer and basic routing was the integrations which was doing only one activity. This will just transfer the file, and this will just route. So in the generation 2, no customer was using these two. So Oracle has found out that okay, these two patterns are just sitting as an idle, but no one is using. So what Oracle has done, right? Oracle has deprecated these two options. And publish to OIC and subscribe to OIC is nothing but that event based. So these are still there, but Oracle has rebranded that as an event, right? So it means 6 patterns was there, still those are there, but whichever are not used, so Oracle has deprecated those. So it means 4 are still there. This as it is, schedule as it is, publish to OIC and subscribe to OIC got rebranded as event. But behind the scene, if you see it is the same only, right? So the developers who is doing the development in generation 2, when they are doing the development in generation 3 by using event, they are saying that okay, it is the same thing only, it got rebranded as a name event, right? So these are the 3 patterns in the generation 3. So on demand is like, it will depend upon you when you want to run. It won't run always. If you need one, you will go and press that button, it will run. You need every hour, you will press, right? So it means it is on your control when you want to execute. Schedule, frequency based. Event, when some event happen. For example, right, when I will go and place the file into FTP folder, right, my logic should start automatically, right? So what happened? We can say that event is like file created. So based on the file created event, our integration will start automatically, right? So these are the things, these are the patterns what we have in the generation 3. So this is a use case which we already discussed, right? That okay, if you have to go and
Is
load
it
the
like a
daily XML.
version, generation 2 and 3?
No, it is a generation in like infrastructure generation. So when it initially OIC started, right, it was generation 1. So every 3 months, Oracle you upgrade their system, right, to make the
Okay.
system better. So when they are changing complete infrastructure kind of a change, right? So that time they are changing the generations. Otherwise, every 3 months they will come up with the patches or versions to make the system more robust or to come up with the new features and all. So we'll be seeing like when we start our session, right, in detail that okay, why Oracle moved from generation 2 to generation 3. What are the different things changed? But this is a major thing which patterns are got changed in from generation 2 to generation 3.
I have a question like,
Yes,
do
please.
AI will affect the OIC development kind of
No,
things?
no, no. So what AI is doing, right? AI is also behind the scene creating the workflow, creating its flowchart only. Same thing OIC is doing, right? So when it comes about the data, right? So AI can
Right.
handle your small one transaction, two transactions. But when the companies will have it, for example, if you can check your company, right, that has 50,000 employees. They want to run the payroll for all 50,000 employees. So you need some robust solution, correct? You cannot go with the some agent that okay, go and do this activity, right? So infrastructure enterprises will not go for that one. Now, as this AI is coming, right? So AI is coming within the OIC also. So it means OIC solutions will also be using AI to make the better solutions and all. Behind the scene, AI will be using OIC as a layer on itself. So by coming AI, OIC will not be replaced. It will be more in demand only. Because nowadays, right, that MCP is coming, model context language or layer. So that behind the scene, it is using OIC only.
And one more question. OIC will be used with the two different application other than Oracle.
It can be used
Uh,
any system, any two systems. Oracle, non-Oracle, legacy, cloud. It could be anything.
Okay.
yeah.
Any other questions if you have? So now we just have last 10-15 minutes. So we'll be taking questions. If anyone has any questions, any queries, so we'll take all those questions now. Let
See,
me
in
just
any
check the.
organizations, a dedicated OIC developer will be there, or along with this, required to do some development activities also.
No, so dedicated development role. So OIC is kind of like dedicated role itself. So if you just go and see in the LinkedIn, right, you will get a lot of job opportunities who are just needed OIC developers standalone.
Okay.
Mian, do we get the program details like how many other things?
Your voice got break in between. Can you just repeat your question again?
How much months or do we require to learn the OIC?
Okay, so if you like this training, right, we have designed in such a way that okay, by end of this training, right, you will feel more than like intermediate or advanced OIC developer. So we have planned this training for like 30 to 35 hours, so which comprises of like around 7 to 8 weeks.
And
And
development experience is required to develop what kind of
No,
development
no, there is
experience is required for
no, there is
this?
no prerequisite. If you're a technical, well and good. If you're not, if you're a non-technical team member, right? So that those person also can go and do that. So that's what like OI, because as I mentioned in the beginning, right? It is a low code framework. It means there is no prerequisite that okay, you should know some programming language. You should know these technical things.
Do we require any kind of prerequisites like any other technology knowledge for this?
No, if you have those things, well and good, those kind of like plus point for you. But if you don't know, no need to worry because always, as I told, right, two systems will be communicating. Now, when you go to the project, right, those two systems could be anything. For example, I will come with the fusion knowledge. But for example, in my project, right, customer is not using the fusion itself. Then I have to go and see, understand that target system. So always we have to just see that, okay, how target system is accepting the data. For example, right, we came into the training. If I am speaking in English, right, you should know the English, right? If suppose I will start using Hindi, then if you don't know Hindi, right, you will not able to communicate with me. So that is the only requirement. That okay, you should know how the target system will accept that one, and that we will get from the requirement as a requirement from the client.
basically, who will use this OIC? Basically, developer, functional consultant, or technical consultant.
So nowadays, right, if you see right in the market, there is no separate roles as of technical and functional. Nowadays, right, we have
Correct.
the techno functional. So both
Correct.
can
Yeah.
be both can used. Technical team members also, functional team members also, and techno functional also.
Basically, techno-functional also will use write
Yes,
this logic.
correct. They also can go and write the logic.
Okay.
Because if you see right at the end, it is nothing but kind of a flow chart which will generate. Yes, behind
Correct.
the scene, code will be there, but that code will be auto-generated. So if you are able to implement the solution, right? So functional team members are the best person who can go and design the solution because they will be knowing the system in and out.
And is there a sandbox or anything for a training purpose or to hands-on?
Yeah, instance will be provided like OIC instance. So the one which I showed, right? So this is a
Okay.
OIC instance. So OIC comes under the PaaS layer, platform as a service. So separate
Okay.
instance will be created. So this instance will be shared with you guys once our training, right? So that okay, because like it is recommended that okay, whatever I will do hands-on, right? Please go and repeat. Then only you will able to get the concept. By just seeing the video, you will not be able to get. Yes, you will able to get 40% or 50%. But when you will go and perform the same activity, right? So whatever, right, you will able to get 100%. Because when I will be doing right, I am know that okay, if I will press this button, I will get error. So I will not press that one. Why? Because I am doing this activity from last 10 years. So I know right when the things will break. But when you do first time, right, things will break. When the things break, right, then only those questions will come. Why it got break? So in the next session, right, you can ask me that question that okay, when I was trying to do yesterday, right, this got break. Why it got break? So please go and do hands-on. Then only you will able to get the real knowledge. Again, there is no nothing that okay which will break, which will make that infra. This is a learning environment. You can go and do anything here. Any other
Okay.
questions if any?
How this is different from the robotic process like UiPath or Blue Prism or some other robotic process technology?
Okay, so if you see right there, you cannot go and achieve each and now as I told right here, you can connect with any system.
Yes.
In those, so UiPath and robotics, right? What, all right? You can just automate your process. The activities which you are doing manually, right? You can just automate that one. But you
Okay.
cannot make multiple systems to communicate at the real time and all, right? Then the
Uh,
security. So those are
yes.
the things. So here you will be making complete solution. There you are doing some set of activities only.
Okay. And what is this charge and other thing? Okay, how the smaller companies will be able to handle the cost and other thing? Is it cheaper or
Okay, so
it's
yeah, so
licensing
it
wise?
yeah, so it is like pay as you go model. It means whatever
Oh,
you use, right? For that only you have to pay. So there's no fixed costing. If you suppose your customer is using large, right? So the costing will be coming more. So it's kind of a like subscription model,
okay.
and the subscription will be based on the number of messages. So suppose if you are a small company, right? So whatever,
Yeah.
right? You will not be doing too much transactions. So when not
Yes.
will be too much transaction, the costing will be lower. But when the
Okay.
transactions are too much, so the costing will be higher. So it means it depends upon your usage. There's no fix that okay, if big company is using and small company, they have to go and pay the same price. It's not like that one.
For user ID and everything, it's the same, or for user it's a different cost and services is different
No,
cost?
it is completely on the usage base. There is no the
Usage
costing.
basis.
So some minimal costing will be there. That is kind of a resource allocation and all, but that is kind of a negligible when you compare to the actual usage cost.
If
The
there are
main costing
mapping
comes,
more,
yeah. So the main costing is like on the usage part only.
Okay.
if there are mapping more, and there will be cost more
No,
because
it
the
not.
robots.
No, it won't depend upon the mapping and all. It depend upon the data. How much data you are communicating, right? How
Okay.
much data communication happen in that one.
Okay.
Is there any
Because
certification? Sorry, is
Yeah.
there any certification also for this, like
Yes.
Oracle certification?
Yes. There's the official certificate from the Oracle, so you can give for that exam, and that is that official certificate only for the Oracle OIC.
Okay.
one more
And
question is that is there a
Yes.
limitations? Definitely there should be some limitation for this OAC, right? What are
No,
they?
your knowledge is a limitation.
Okay.
okay, I
Hey,
just wanted to know, like, this course is targeted whom? Like, actually, my background is Oracle DBA. So, is this something practical to know this OIC? And like, is it like valuable for me for my career growth or something like that?
For sure. Because you are a DBA, right?
Yeah.
At some point of time, right, you are moving the data from point one to point B, right?
Yes.
So OIC will
Yes.
be there. So now,
Okay.
right, when your company, right, suppose you are a DB, right, and all your data is sitting into to those legacy systems. when they will move to the cloud, right?
Hmm.
So how the data will go from legacy to cloud? So OIC will come as a middleware in there.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Hmm, Thank you. Any other
Hey,
questions? Yeah,
one
please.
more thing. Is there any orchestration that also going to teach by any chance?
Yes, yes. So what the solution which I say, right? So that in
Uh-huh.
between what will happen, right? That is nothing but that orchestration only. If you see it here in the mapping of the data, right? So data enrichment, data transformation, that is only the data orchestration. Like you got the data, you will make the data because always, right? It is not like as it is. For
So
example, right? In your
you are
yeah,
going to teach order orchestration also?
yes, we'll so it's going to be completely hands-on. So we'll be seeing all different scenario that okay, how we can interact with the database, how we can interact with the FTP systems, with the fusion systems. So that data orchestration also we'll see.
I think basically we can pause a few steps, those things.
Yes, you
Uh,
can pause. So wait is
yeah.
there. You can skip. So all those things are there.
Okay, okay. So yeah, these both only I was looking for. Thank you.
Yes.
Hello.
And
Any
how
other
long is the
question?
course and what time
Yeah,
you are going to?
yeah. So the course is like for 30 to 35 hours. So which comprises like 7 to 8 weeks.
Okay. So one and a
Hi,
half
And
I'm
month,
Venkat.
8 2 months.
yes, consider you can say 6 to 8 weeks, you can say, based on our like pace and questions and all.
Any time considered for this batch?
So I think that will be decided based on like everyone's availability. So like I think, Kiran, can you answer that question?
So it's mostly the evening timing, okay?
Mm.
So we'll confirm you the time tomorrow.
I
Just
have
fill up
one,
the
two
attendance
questions.
form. Mostly it's the evening time after 7:30. Okay.
Oh.
Hello, I have one or two questions.
Yeah,
Can I?
please.
I'm Venkat from Hyderabad. I'm Oracle DBA and Oracle Applications DBA since,
Okay.
since last 10 years. So I'm still trying to find out how this OIC is useful or कैसा use होता है DBA
Yeah.
में?
Yeah. So OIC, right? As I told, right? That okay, you are a DB, right? So you are maintaining the data into local database, for example, right? Or that on-premise database. Now
Okay.
everyone is moving to the cloud. So for example, your
Mhm.
company say that okay, now going forward we'll be using the cloud database,
Mhm.
right? So that okay, there is no physical system, all the things will be happening on the cloud. So you
Mhm.
will go and configure the cloud database. But
Okay.
main thing is like you have to move all your data from here to there. So how you will do?
Mhm.
Because it is not like one record, two records. It is millions of records. And maybe
Right.
it is a historical record, right? From last 10 years, 15 years. All the data you need to move. So
Mhm.
how you can do that one? So what happens, right? You can go and create that automated task, and in that one, right, you can design the solution so that okay, it will be taking from your source to target. Now you just can go and observe that okay, all your data is going correctly or not.
Okay.
Now this is just one example, right? In
Okay.
today's time, multiple systems want to communicate for single thing. If you take that example of salary, right? One system will be communicating with the bank, then it will be communicating with the insurance department. So in today's time, not a single system can go and achieve everything. They have to interact with some other system at some point of time. So when they want to connect with some other system, so OIC comes as a middleware, and there it comes as a OIC will play the role when the data needs to be communicated with other systems.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sometime back, Oracle introduced something like SOA suite. So OIC is built on
Yes.
top of that
So
SOA suite.
that's yeah. So that SOA was a legacy solution. So OIC is the cloud version of the SOA you can consider. In SOA, right,
Oh,
you have to download the software, you have to download
okay.
JDeveloper, you do the local development, you should know the Java programming language. Then you will go and so it is same. Whatever you are doing in the SOA, same thing we are into the OIC. But OIC is
Okay.
like cloud solution and low code. There
So
is
we
no
don't have to
dependent.
do any, so we don't
Yes,
have to do any kind of installations and
correct, correct.
try to take care of the WebLogic server, all those
Nothing.
things are
Yeah, so
nothing.
that,
So just
yeah,
use it.
correct.
And sometime back in your demo, you were saying, I'm sorry, I'm taking too much time. This is the last question.
Yeah, please.
Programming. So any particular programming language like Python, PLC,
No, there's no
Java?
programming language will be needed for this one.
Okay, good enough. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay, I got it. Thank you. Thanks very much.
Any other questions, anyone?
Daily basis, how many hours you're going to teach?
We will be planning 1 hour or 1.5 hours. So that for also right again depend upon everyone's availability.
So
Okay.
I am from SAP ABAP background. So how is it useful for me?
You're from which background?
SAP ABAP.
Oh, SAP.
ABAP.
Okay, so SAP, right? Like for you, right? You need to connect with, for example, some company is moving from one system to another. For example, some company is using Workday today. Now, going forward, they want to, or like due to some issues, right? They are not continuing with the Workday. They wanted to go with the SAP system. Now you need to bring all that information in your system, right? So OIC will play as a middleware.
Migration. Okay, okay.
Or from SAP, right? You are doing some transaction. Those transactions you need to share with some third party. Again, with the example, right? Bank you want to share. So OIC will be used there also.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yeah.
So OIC will replace the middleware code writers. That's what you're saying. Who are writing the
Yes,
APIs. Okay.
correct.
Okay. So they already taken out the UI developers. Now they're taking out the middleware also.
For sure. Because that's all right. Companies are going for cost cutting, right? So
Yeah.
wherever they will see that, okay, yes, they can do the activity faster with, because if you are able to do something faster, right, automatically the
Yeah.
development cost is reduced.
Yeah. Okay.
And
Understood.
you don't have to wait for that longer to get that solution when you able to get, for example, if I will say, right, this training, right? If you, I will say that, okay, I will teach you
The
something in six
companies will
months.
use the business guys to do the all these things. Already the
Right.
Power Apps and SharePoint are already taking the developers role, right? So the
Yes, for
business
sure.
guys will take it. So the same thing will happen with this also. Okay.
Yes. So due to that reason, right, if you ask me, right, in today's time, more OIC developers are required compared to what is available in the market. So that's supply demand, right?
Okay.
People need more developers, but like in the market, OIC developers are not available.
It's not a free software, right? So nobody might have been already learned. So they need an
That's
instance to do it.
yeah, it is. Yeah, it is not a free one. Due to that reason, right? Like in the training, it will be provided with a like free with you guys, so that okay, you can go and do the hands-on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Will you teach web services, REST or SOAP, XML?
Yes, yes, we will be, because OIC is nothing but web service only, right? If you use the REST adapter and SOAP adapter, so it will be exposed as a web service only. So we'll be teaching that also.
It's part of development, or will you teach only at?
No, it is part of the development only. We'll be teaching that all the things. So whatever the things will be required to do the task, right? So we'll be covering all those things.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Yeah. So as I mentioned, right, it is going to be the completely hands-on. Initially, 3-4 hours will be theoretical, so that okay, you know the components and everything. You have the fair idea. After that one, each and everything is going to be practical, so that okay, you know that okay, in the project how it will be used.
Hey, sorry, one more time I'm asking. Orchestration is completely is covered or partially it is covered?
So like foundation will be covered. I will be giving all
Okay.
the building blocks
Because
that
I
okay,
am from
how
the
you
OTC
can.
background.
Okay.
Yeah,
So that's why like
basically,
whatever
Mhm.
solution you need to implement, right? So we'll be covering
Mm,
all the things so that okay, like when you go into the real project, right? You can
mm.
combine all the solutions together.
Okay.
Yeah. Any other questions?
We need a course content.
Yeah. So I think that will be shared with you.
Okay,
But if
we'll just fill up the attendance form. Okay, so our team
Yeah,
lead
we are done.
will share you the course content and other details.
Okay, thank you.
any other questions if we have. Okay, so I think if there's no question, we are good to wrap up. We already have 10 minutes over. So I hope you guys have liked the session. And any questions we will be taking, and you can reach out to Kiran if you have any questions after the training also, right? So like we'll try to help you in all possible ways.
Thank you, sir.